Yes, that's right. We are joined here for another episode of Super Mater Bros Podcasting. I'm Jeff Mater, your host, with my brother Dave Mater and Josh Foster here to talk about Survivor 46, Episode 4. Don't touch the oven. This is the recap and analysis. Banu's funeral, and it was kind of sweet, a little bit sad, but we got to the point where it was time. It was time to see Banu go.
Yeah, that's almost like Trumpian of you, the way your inflections there. You're like, it was time. It was time for him to go. We liked him while he was here, but then he had to go.
It was terrific, but
it was terrific. But we liked him for a while, but then we said,
we said, you know what? Maybe he's not made for this game.
That was the Banu story. What are you gonna say about Banu? We barely Banu'd. All the little Banus out there. Don't forget about them.
I actually really enjoyed the episode, like overall, like not just the the Banu stuff was kind of like I felt like we kind of had to get through it, but all the other stuff, it was one of the rare episodes where they've done a lot of the flashbacks and explain people's stories. Where I was like, I actually liked it. I actually liked getting. I thought they did well. That was produced well. I thought like they kind of showed people's humanity a lot more than they normally do. Like in an episode of Survivor, like
we get like two or three segments. We basically got the Banu, we got Maria, we got Tevin.
Yeah. Tevin.
Did anyone else get a segment in the episode? Maybe like
those were the ones that stood out. Yeah, there might have been one more. But yeah, you're right. Like I just thought that like the ones that they did, I don't know, they were all very sweet. They were all very like very personal. They weren't just like, I'm a law student and that means I'm smart.
Yeah. People like just think I'm good looking, but I'm also smart. I can read a book.
Yeah. Guess what? I can also read a book, and that makes me fierce. Like, no, it was none of that. It was more like, no, like my parents are from Lebanon. It was really hard. It was like Banu's like, I came from poverty. I came from nothing. Like, I actually thought, like, I was like, oh, they actually got some like real people that aren't Instagram models that literally have no life experience. I was more impressed with the people they cast this time around than normal. I don't know. What did you make of it, Dave?
I liked the episode overall. Like, I think Banu was a hard guy to watch play. I think that, I think we needed his tenure on this show to come to an end. It should have been last episode. It ends up being this episode. It's a little wah-wah for me because, last week, what's his name? Randon medically evacuated. Now we just kind of get we don't even go up and write the names down. We're just like, see you later, Banu. We hug him on the way out. It's like he has no vote. He had nothing to happen here. It was just like, I admire the guy in a lot of ways, but on the other hand, he was fun to watch on TV, I guess, in some senses. But like in terms of how he was playing into the game, you're like, okay, this guy's just kind of, let's go.
He wasn't made for Survivor. Like he just wasn't. He didn't. I don't think he quite understood how the game and the show worked. I think he thought like he is like a good person. It seems like, but like that can only that's not what Survivor's about. Survivor's a lot. Even though they've kind of rehabilitated their image, a lot of it is still lying and deception, and like as we saw. Actually, I think the other segment we kind of got was from Jem, one of my picks, where it seems like Jem is like one of those old school type deceitful players. She would have fit in like 20 years ago, no problem,
right?
Playing Survivor. Whereas I find like the modern player is not quite like that. What did you, Josh, make of a player like Jem and everything she was doing with her idol play?
Well, first of all, it was like it seemed really clever until you realize that it reads on it that you had to dig under the spot, right? So she didn't bury anything, like she didn't, you know what I mean? Like she just kind of just placed it and kind of left it, right? So like the effort was definitely there. She kind of like, and I kind of was, I like the kind of maniacal kind of, to the side cackling, if you will, right? Of like, like they're all looking for it, but I get to watch and I got to keep a straight face. And, and it looked like she wasn't even keeping a straight face, to be honest. Right. But, she was having fun, like she said.
Could there be a more antithetical player opposite player to Banu than Jem. I mean, like on one hand, Jem is like this, like I'm willing to find the idol, bury bury nothing, just put the clue to tree, completely lie to everybody.
With a bunch of ants.
Yeah, put a bunch of ants, put them through hell, make them all question each other and their loyalties to each other while I sit back. She is like the complete opposite of what Banu is, where Banu's like on his knees begging for people to give him idols. Like it was tough to watch in like that way. Like, but at the same time, like I kind of like I enjoyed that he was so different. That was the thing with Banu. I was like, he is so different than any other person I've ever seen on this show. That part I kind of was like, this is kind of like you said, Dave. He's fascinating TV because you're like,
Right.
how is he this way? And like a lot of it's, I think, it has to do with his backstory and where he comes from. And
Yeah, he's very unique and he's very different. And you don't meet somebody like him all the time. And so but he's not like a Survivor player. That's kind of like, I think he'd be better on a different show. But I'm kind of glad he was on this one in a lot of ways. I just think like, I feel for him because he doesn't quite fit in, but the rest of them want to play Survivor. Q and Tiffany and Kenzie, they're here to play a game, and he's like they're realizing, oh, we should have voted him out before Jess and before Buddy. What was his name? Jelinski.
The legend Jelinski.
The legend Jelinski.
The legend.
All-time great first boot.
They probably would have won like they probably would have won the challenge tonight.
Like he was really struggling in the water there. Like he kind of like, like you would think that Tiff should have, stepped up kind of thing. Cause like he dropped the ball again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he did kind of mess up. Like there was a chance that there was like Banu was going to go on a winning streak and they were going Yanu. I keep calling sometimes they call the Yanu tribe Banu. I think they should change their name to Banu now that he's been voted out. It's the Banu tribe. I
think that would have been a really nice way to like honor him at I think that's what he would have loved more than anything leaving is like some sort of like history like that being forever etched in history other than just playing.
I don't think they were going to give him that just because
Jeff told him tonight, Dave, you got to be your own guru.
You got to be. He's like, I'll be your guru. And he's like, I thought that was a compliment. He's like, it is. Like, okay, like, what do you say? Like, the story of this episode is very much more about the Yanu tribe, who I now think should be renamed the Banu tribe, just for the record.
Right. I think it could be called either.
And Banu telling Tiffany, oh, well, when I was on the journey, I kind of blew up that game. I told everyone you and Q were really close, and then that Kenzie was the mastermind. Sorry, I feel bad about it now. And they're just like they're all peeved off at him to start off the episode tonight. And that's basically they're like he's not meant for Survivor. I think I just keep coming back to that thought. He's just like he's almost like an unstable element in this particular season, which I find interesting. But he wasn't going to the end. The Wackadoodles win.
But he wasn't like they had two other people they voted off before him.
Right. Like, I think they realized, I think that like they're not going to rename themselves the Banu tribe because they're going to be bitter that he blew up their game. And if they had been on a different tribe and he hadn't been there, then maybe they would have won if they don't go on to win, or one of them is going any one of them who doesn't go on to win, because they can't all win.
I think they're in the sweet spot, right? Because I think anytime you're the tribe that gets decimated, and you always become the middle vote swinger players. Like it's just when you get to the merge, it's inevitably what happens. And like a lot of the times, two of the three people from the three that are left usually make it to like the final five. Like it's usually the way it works, because of the votes.
Well, it depends. Do you think they're going to do a swap before the merge in this season, or do you think that they're going to keep this the way it is?
Well, how many players are left right now?
We've lost 4.
We got 3 on Yanu.
So we're down to 14.
14. They're going to wait till like at least 12. So probably 2 more votes. So they might like they're. I think there is contingencies that they do. I was thinking about this that when one tribe goes down to 3, they might do a swap. Like because because
If Brandon didn't go, they would do a swap for sure. I think that's kind of like that borderline. Do we do it now?
yeah.
Well,
They could go to 2 tribes for like 1 or 2 weeks.
they could. How many people are going to be on the jury? Probably like 7.
Oh yeah. See, they did something different last year where it was less people in the jury, right?
You want fewer jurors. As many. I'm not. This is my new train of thinking about how they should be doing this. Is that like it should be like the last few people, because the more they show statistically, the more jurors there are, the more unanimous it is in terms of the vote, because you get into this group think in the jury, as it builds in Ponderosa over a long period of time, versus it, if it's just like the final 7, or even fewer than that, if you can manage it, then great. Then your each vote becomes so more valuable, and each player on the season may be more willing to use it in an interesting, entertaining way. And that's what the show should be kind of gunning for more than anything.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like too, like how many people lost when it was big juries because of that, or like. Or like didn't really ever have a chance, and maybe they should have.
Last season we had 8 jurors voting, and it was a 5-3. So that's an exception of.
It's pretty close.
That's more of a split vote than a lot of these other seasons. Like if you look at the season before that, there was 8 jurors, and it was 7-1.
Mm-hmm. That was that the girl, Canadian girl?
That's when Jam won.
Oh, Jam.
And the season that Gabler won, that was also 8 jurors, and it was a 7-1.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I think 7, 8. I think you're right. Is probably the right number. I mean, I remember that
8's too many. I go down to 5. If anything.
Right. Well, it is different too because there's less days. Like it was always ridiculous when people were like, I haven't seen you guys in 2 weeks, but I know how good of a game you played. Like, do you?
The season before that, Marianne won, and it was 8 jurors, and it was 7-1 again.
Yeah, it's been a lot of unanimous votes, like almost like pretty like that. When it's 7-1, that is unanimous to me. Because
Erica
one of those
also won 7-1 the season before that.
Yeah, it's not very exciting, is it?
No, it's almost like like, is there going to be a split vote? Like last season was the closest, 5-3, and it had been in seasons,
which was kind of ridiculous because
Winners at War, Jeff, there was 16 jurors.
And what was the vote?
12-4.
For Tony. Who got the 4?
Who got the 4?
Was it Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah, wasn't it?
Oh, no, Sarah got taken out. It wasn't Sarah.
I forgot who. No, Sarah. It was Sarah.
Oh, was Sarah?
No, she went out of 3. Sorry, who was it?
Was it
Natalie.
Oh, Natalie. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that one's different because it's winter, so I'm fine with them having a big jury in that one. So there was 20 players too, I think, right? So
in Islands of the Idols, there was 10 jurors. It went 8-2.
That's crazy. 10 jurors. It is too many.
And there's 3 people you can vote for. You think with these big jurors, you would see more like split votes, and some would go, at least one vote would go to somebody, right? Each person you think would get at least one vote, but that's not what happens.
You're right. I do think there's groupthink because the way the Ponderosa works, like if they just had the blind vote and there was no like, hey, what do you think? And no, this person deserves more. And I do think that happens in that Ponderosa.
Like, should they be able to compare notes after the game's over, right? Or do they, or should they not? Would it be more interesting? I think try it one season where you sequester the jurors and they're not allowed to talk to each other.
Yeah, like that'd be interesting, and then they can because I do dislike this about the Survivor jury where they're all like buddy and laughing and going whoa and like do it like I hate that. I'm like, no, like you're out of the game, like you're not a part of the show anymore. Like you kind of.
But that's what they do with it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like that's the modern era, Jeff.
Yeah, I just dislike it. I also wish they would go back to a final 2, but
I agree. Like final 2 and like 5 jurors or 7 jurors at the most.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it would be nice. Anyway, back to this episode. Okay, so
challenge.
Yeah,
Or do I, or do you, is there anything in the individual?
Reward was the first one.
The reward one. Yeah, there was some stuff with the tribes, but I don't think there was anything too notable. It was mostly about Banu. And then this was a fish challenge, guys. They were playing for some fish.
Oh no, and tarp and tools.
Well, that's ultimately what the Yanu tribe traded for their fish, because they ended up winning this challenge, but they go on to lose the immunity challenge, which is actually the one that matters. But so this
they have chosen the fish?
They had no way to cook it because they had no fire.
Sushi.
They could have done sushi. So that's something to consider. But they don't do that, and we see the clip. I knew they were going to win this challenge because we see Q say we're going to have to trade for it if we win, right? And I was like, they're only putting that in because they're going to go on to win. And it's, so it was a little bit obvious. This one, the funniest thing in this challenge to me, Foster, was how it was, what was his name? Tim was trying to get on this little buoy halfway through in the ocean as they were coming in on their boat, and he was like the biggest guy on his boat for the Green Tribe, and he kept like falling in. Got this key or whatever, so that went on.
Yeah, it was kind of designed for like a light girl to do, it was just kind of the way it should have. That's the strategy that you should, that's it.
And once they got onto land, I was like, there's no way that Orange is not going to do well in this challenge. I forget their name, Nami, right? Because Hunter, can we talk about Hunter? Is he great? Is he what a competition beast this guy is?
Yeah, I think he's being dumb.
He's practiced.
I think he's being stupid.
He's being a little too overt, Yes. I think he's showing off a little bit too much, especially in the later challenge in the episode.
The way he was throwing, even in this one, the way he was throwing the rings onto like he was doing the old like throw it upside down and get it on. Like
before that, I liked how each one of them had to get the ring up the beam, but I thought that each one should have to land a ring also on the other beam. But they allowed that was not the rule, right? So, but how well Hunter does this? He's the first one to do it for his side, and he just like, listen, look there.
I remember we said, "Oh, this tribe's going to dominate."
We thought that they were going to be the dominant challenge tribe in our preview for the season. How wrong we were.
Little did we know that the Orange tribe is really kind of the dominant tribe, eh? Like,
because I don't think we had any idea how good Hunter was going to be. I think Hunter is almost up there with Jonathan from Marianne's season, who was like the comp beast, like the Lex Luger trained protege, the guy who climbed the mountain and up 3 times and everything else.
Oh yeah, like him, Handsome Joe. Like there are certain players that have.
You could was Boston Rob one of the great challenge players?
Absolutely.
Ozzy,
yeah, Ozzy was definitely up there. It's those are the ones that kind of like Poverty is definitely stands out. There's certain players that just kind of dominated. Oh, there was the guy that Mike Holloway. Remember he won like 8 immunities to win the game.
Yeah, but before that, his team, he was on the blue collar tribe in the blue collar season, right? And he, I don't think that they dominated all the challenges leading up to the immunity, like the merge. But once he got into the merge phase, he just turned it on, and then he was able to win all these challenges. So I think he was holding back, whereas I think Hunter is not holding back enough, and he's really like standing out as a guy. In sometimes in circumstances where he doesn't need to, but he always goes first for his tribe, which is helping them do well right now, but it's really putting him out on Front Street in terms of like visibility, and like everyone sees him that they're going to have to take him out.
That's why he reminds me of Boston Rob, because that's exactly what Boston Rob did. Like once he came back for All-Stars and then Heroes Villains, like he was always like the leader of his tribe. He always was like, he was figuring out the puzzle.
Boston Rob's like the captain of the hockey team, he's always just like, we're going to get, go in these corners, guys, and you're going to do what I say. He's almost like a mob boss, really.
That's exactly what Boston Rob is. He's an inline, I believe, hockey player when he was like growing up, and like he was a hockey guy. Like he's exactly correct. So
right. Well, that's how he acts too.
Yeah.
And so he's got that whole culture. But I don't think Hunter is that. I think Hunter is a different kind of a player. In terms of his personality. We saw that he wants to get out. Well, there was everything with Tevin. Tevin doesn't like Soda. Soda's going around being Miss Social. We saw in the Nami tribe tonight. That was featured on the show, and that Tevin kind of wants to get her out, and Hunter's all about it. And Liz and my draft pick, the fellow Canadian Venus, would be on the bottom if there was a trio as previously here with Tevin and Soda, and Hunter, right? So yeah, like now it's all flipping around in that dynamic. So before they even have to they haven't had to go to tribal at all, that group, and they're all kind of like the who's with who. It keeps flipping around.
Yeah, it seems like Venus is gonna go home first. Like
that's what expendable. It seems like she's just not worth getting out before maybe Soda. At least in Tevin's mind.
It's Lisa or Venus. They kind of said that. Like that's
Liz.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Liz. The Venus or Liz are with her 1,000-pound wool sweater. Makes no sense how she's wearing that out there. Every time I see her, I'm like, why was she wearing that?
She rocks it. She'll go for it. She's a March 18.
She's like, I just need protein.
I just need protein. I can't eat this coconut. It irritates my mouth.
It irritates my throat. I can't eat anything that's out here. Rice, coconuts, all bad for me.
What, you're not eating anything, Liz? Are you saying?
No, but I'm wearing this giant hot sweater in the middle of Fiji,
the jungle. Anyway. That's how Liz rolls. And then Okay, well, we kind of talked about what was shown for the Green Tribe, just mostly about Maria and her, her telling her story. But then more in the Banu tribe or Yanu tribe, where Banu was like, after Q told him, was like, Banu, if we go to the merge and Jeff asks you, how's it going? You say everything's cool. We're vibing with everybody. But then he was like, hey, Kenzie, I want to play this game with you too. Can we play this game? And she was like, no. And then
she was like, can we just this guy I get where she was coming from. Did she handle it properly? No. And she was correct that Q had the patience of a saint, because this guy, he's basically like, help me learn how to play Survivor. It's like basically like, teach me how to beat you in chess. It's like, no. I'm not going to do that.
All we want you to do is keep your mouth shut and be loyal. He's like, will you help me? She's like, I am helping you. And then it just got, he kind of like hurt.
She was not that like they said she snapped at him. I didn't feel like she snapped at him. She kind of just was like, can you stop? Can you stop, please?
Really, yeah, we won the challenge. Just leave it be, But I don't think that's just not who Banu is. He's just he's got a very different personality.
It wasn't just his personality. It was the fact that he was riding all this guilt of knowing that he did the wrong thing in the game, and he knew they were all pissed at him. And even though they were showing him kindness, he didn't know how to navigate that. It was hard for him to figure out how to get back in good with them. It was pretty much impossible at that point, which understandably so, in a lot of ways. But at the same time, it was very desperate. It was the desperation what came right through the screen, where you're just like, he was such his own worst enemy. All he needed to do was stop and to literally do nothing. Don't talk to anybody about anything. And eventually maybe they would have ate each other. Maybe they would have gotten paranoid.
They're getting paranoid. They definitely would have. It was so easy to get Q to want to go after Kenzie. That was clear, but then all he does is every time he opened his mouth, he made it worse in his game. Right, and that was
God, yeah, he was if any player I've ever watched that was their own worst enemy, it was definitely him.
He's a Hall of Famer,
of the worst own enemy players I've ever seen. What do you, Foster? Is there any player in Survivor you can think of that shot themselves in the foot as much as Banu?
I don't think so, because it was kind of one of those things where Banu, he kind of won that category when they showed that sequence where he went from one extreme of, oh, they're like, he did it twice in I think so far this season, where like he went from like they're manipulating me to like, oh, they're befriending me, right?
Yes.
So it's like it's a roller coaster. Like it's not a sustainable like way to play the game.
No, the only player that come and it's a different thing, but the only player I've ever seen shoot themselves in the foot that bad was Brandon Hance.
Yeah, like I think you could put Banu above like certain players like who quit the game and players who were like kicked out of the game or whatever.
I've got one more. Colton.
Colton was another one. Yes, when he got
his first or second time. I can't remember.
Second time he got kicked out. Basically,
I think Colton's less forgivable than Banu because Banu's at least like he's English not his first language. He's got a maybe a bit of a cultural barrier in some ways in terms of understanding how like the nuances of the game. Colton has no excuse. Like Colton is American and should know how to like socialize a little bit better than Banu. But Banu, he was just contemptuous, right? Like in terms of how Colton came across,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like Colton came across as very like privileged and kind of arrogant. Not very arrogant. Not kind of very arrogant. I wouldn't say any of those are true for Banu. He's kind of the opposite in that way. He's not privileged at all. He's kind of naive, kind of like just innocent,
sensitive,
so sensitive, so emotional. And I don't know. He's an open book too. Like there was nothing with Badu that like was a secret. Like everyone could see right through everything. He wasn't even trying to do anything. He was like obviously like he was everything he did. He meant he was 100%. Himself.
Yeah, but they still came to the conclusion that Jelinski had to be voted out before him, right? And that Jess had to be voted out before him. So he must have been more together in the first couple days, or at least like in the challenges. Jess was so bad in the challenges.
Yes, that's why she got voted out. And Jelinski,
because he just had this like reputation of being a quitter and not helping their tribe, and he was.
I would vote Jelinski out first too, honestly. Like I would rather that I would feel bad about voting Banu out first when I have a guy that literally threw the hourglass. Like this tribe was one of the biggest messes of a tribe I've ever seen in my life.
One of the worst, because the only one who I think is sort of got it together is maybe Tiffany, because I think Kenzie is sort of a little diluted and sort of. I'm kind of curious to see what Kenzie does with like in a post merge because I don't think she's going to be as successful socially as she thinks she's going to be, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think that's true. I think you're right about that.
I think she's got a little bit of an inflated sense there, but if she gets together with like a Soda or whoever, I don't know, we'll see.
I do see Q like if he can bond with people and like come across as like a nice guy, which I do think that's in him, I think he'd do okay. But if he's like abrasive, like which is what I thought he was going to be after the first couple episodes, but now I don't think that. I think he's an easy first boot at the merge because he's so physically strong.
Q,
yeah. But
I think like in this chat, if I was just like out there today as a castaway, I think, and I wasn't one of those people, I think I would want to vote out Hunter before I'd want to vote out Q.
Yeah,
I think even Tim. Like I think is a better competitor than Q.
Yeah, maybe at certain things. Yeah, for sure.
At certain things. Well, okay, like Q and anything aquatic is. I don't think you want Q's not going to do so well. There's a lot of better players in these individual challenges, but only one player gets to win an individual immunity, right? Or sometimes two when they offer it for both. So how much is it really? You can only. Yeah, unless you're a Mike Holloway and you're going to win 8 immunity challenges, you're going to have to find a way to make an alliance to save you at some point,
that's true.
How much can you really just like? Do you really need to worry about Hunter? He's got potential. Maybe you do. Maybe he's got the potential to run the gambit and win every immunity, and you could never vote him out.
Well, yeah, that's possible. But Hunter's thing is like, I mean, they haven't really showed that tribe as much, but like, it seems like he's not like the most social guy.
Seems like he's holding back in his social game.
Right. So like, and you need the social game to win. Like you can't just win challenges and just that's all you
Well,
do.
I think that's it. Like that is his game. He's like, I'm going to show I'm just good at challenges, but I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. And if he's successfully selling that idea, then yeah, he has to kind of hold back, right? So and be sort of a character.
But you won't get the votes. Like I just don't think you get the votes at the end playing that way. Because I don't think people want to know that you played like with like a good social game, because Survivor's about social dynamics at the end of the day. It's not about, to me, it's not about the challenges. Well, they value them way too much. I know
well, you get down to that group think, and so it sort of comes down to what most people are going to think or value, right?
Even though, but in the last few seasons, it has made more sense, like who they've given like the wins to. Like Gabler didn't win friggin' many challenges, neither did Marianne. Erica didn't win very many challenges. Like these winners are just like, they were socially good. So like that's why they won.
Yeah, you don't have to be but it doesn't hurt if you're a great competitor, and you get to the end and everyone likes you too.
Yeah, it definitely, absolutely, it definitely helps. But I just don't think people value it as much as like, did you ask me about my family? Did you get to know me at all? Did you? And we'll see if Hunter's like that. I don't know. They haven't showed, like Tevin to me is like the biggest threat on that tribe to win. I'm also super impressed with him. Like
he's been better than I thought. His whole thing about cleaning the fish with his dad and the dad calling all the time. That got to me.
He's an actor. That's the one thing with him. So, but he is very good at I thought everything he said about his dad and everything you're saying was from the heart, and was very real. It was very raw. It was only 10 months prior to so I just thought it was very like real to me. It was not bullshit,
10 months before they filmed this season, which was a year ago, right? So it would be probably almost 2 years at this point. But yeah, it's sad. It was sad, and him cleaning the fish, and now he knows how to. He did it by himself, and it was a nice sequence. This was a pretty good one. I'd say it's one of the best they've done in the season. Jane was all like, "Why aren't they eating the heads of the fish?"
Well, usually what they do is they take, I don't know if they do, but what you should do is like take the eyes out, and then you throw the head into like a big pot, and then you make fish head soup.
Fish head soup. That's right. That's what I was saying.
That's what you
There's
should.
not a lot of meat on a head.
No, you use it for like the soup, and then you make a broth out of it, and then that's you're still getting tons of nutrients that way. But that's what I would do.
Foster, would you have some fish head soup?
No. No, I'm good. I'm good with my little water that I have.
Okay, well, just checking.
A little bit of water, a little bit of rice, a little bit of fish.
The only thing, like, is
so much rice.
Before we get into that second challenge, the only other thing I would mention is that they spend a lot of time. We already touched on Gem, but there was a lot of people like replanting their beware clues, and people digging into trees so much that
they dug deep.
They dug deep. Well, what Banu
was? I think that was a quirky
that
thing.
is a smoking gun there right now on the instant replay, Foster. We have proven that Mariah can jump.
Liar.
She's a faker.
Those knees were bent, Dave. Those knees were definitely acute, not obtuse.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's she's playing us, and she's playing this whole. But maybe that's a good thing, because we thought she went third overall in our draft by Sean. I think she is going to be potentially somebody who's going to play well into the end game. Guys, the only thing else really to talk about in the episode was I was like, we have another. When I realized there was another 20 minutes in the episode, and I was like, we have 20 minutes. We need 20 minutes to vote out Banu here. I was like, this seems like a lot of time to fill for just to talk about Banu's who has no vote, nothing. Here.
That moment though, when he's like, I have no idol, I have no vote, I have no shot in the dark, I have no alliances, I have no friends, I have no self.
I don't have a pot or a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of or any of those.
I don't have any rice. I don't have a shirt. I don't.
He had a shirt, but yeah, we saw that he was he was looking through the thing. He was trying anything he could. The desperation in this sequence, and then finally he goes to Tiffany. Tiffany's like, "Yeah, I'm voting you out. I'm just telling you." whatever. There's nothing else to do here, Banu. Right? There was no world where they could keep going with him, and I was with them in that sense, right? With the players, with the kind of game that those three want to play. And so Tribal, like you can kind of really see it, especially on Kenzie's face in the Tribal. She's like, this has to end. I have been waiting 9 days for this. This is
well, it is better for them. I actually thought it was good that they lost, because for their game, having that guy around with them would have been great TV, but terrible for their game.
They really tried. They were talking about like how we're gonna Q. We saw it. Q tried to train them. I'll teach you how to give the right answers and how not to give away certain information. Because I think they're thinking no matter what if they go into the merge and they feel like they're a minority and easy to pick off, that's going to happen. Maybe it probably won't happen like that, but they're still. I think that's front of mind for them. They don't want to be. They'd rather be the majority. Of course you'd rather be have like the strongest numbers going into the merge theoretically.
Only if you trust your group,
Right.
and that's always what happens is they get to the merge and the people that merge together don't trust each other, and then they pick each other off,
Yeah.
So it's like, we'll see. But like, the thing is with Banu, all it would have taken is one person from another tribe to go, those people were mean to you.
Oh yeah,
you should. Yeah,
he would flip on them, in an instant. Like
100%. If rockin' dude was like, "Yo, man, rock on, be kind and come join us," and he would have been like, "Really?
Join our band, man. You want to be in the green band?
We need a bass player, and why don't you be our bass player?"
Yeah, like he would have been all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like him going around, he was begging to Tiffany. He's crying. He's going on. Like there was a few times Jane and I just look at each other like this is something. And this is really something. And then of course the Tribal itself, where like that it was more of the same, but then he gives like he tells his story, and I'm like okay, he's got this real underdog story, and he's been through a lot in his life, and you're like you feel for this guy because you imagine like the poverty. He's like, even Jeff's like, poverty in India, guys. This is not, he didn't just grow up poor.
Yeah, like I mean it is a different level. Like I really respected him for like his backstory, because like Jeff made, that's exactly the right way to put it, Dave. It's like he didn't grow up in Detroit, okay? As bad as Detroit is, you know what I mean?
He wasn't in the projects or on food stamps or something, like much worse, so
it's like he had a where he lived at the beach, it was like that but worse.
Probably way worse, not as nice. They probably didn't have a nice view of Fiji where he was, right? So it was
depends where he was in India, I guess. But
I don't think so. Yeah, but then he had to like he said his mom died, and then he ends up living with his grandparents, and
his father abandoned him.
His father abandoned him, and then he ends up going to the United States, and like he has this incredible story, and then he now he's on Instagram. He's been on Survivor now. He's accomplished a lot, but he doesn't, and I understand why they put him on the show, but like, I was like, but this is where it has to end. Like, how could it not, so I just feel like after we've had 2 weeks of sort of like this, with the Randon and this would have been the vote out last episode. We need to get back to more of the game, and they're trying to set that up in these other segments. They're like, don't worry, there's strategy, there's lots of people, there's conniving, there's this happening, but none of it can happen right now because everyone else is safe for whatever reason. So we're going into episode 5 to kind of see, like, I don't know, I kind of want to see a blind side. I want to see something more like dramatic, not obvious.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that'll probably happen.
Is that a good? I know we all saw the next time, but let's remind ourselves how this went next time on episode 5. So there was no like drop your buffs, which you often see if they're going to go to a merge. So I feel like there's not going to be a merge next episode, but we'll see. There was the next episode, guys, is called Tiki Man.
This is about Tim, you think?
Well, is he the Tiki? Is Tim the Tiki Man?
I don't know, just because they showed him in that clip, and his name's Tim, so I was like, maybe it's sort of close.
This episode was called "Don't Touch the Oven," which was what Kenzie said early on, referring to Banu. Don't touch the oven, like, because he's like he's a kid who's 15 years older than me, and I'm like, don't touch the oven,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But what could Tiki Man be a reference to? Like, why would somebody say that at a confessional?
That's a good point. Maybe something to do with a challenge or something. Yeah.
It's like a great Tiki Man. I don't know. Now I'm confused.
I think Tevin will be the person that says that, because I just don't see most people saying something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've just in terms of our draft update, who had Banu? Jen had Banu. So she just has Kenzie left. She had Banu and Kenzie. I'm sure that was fun to watch for her.
She's yeah.
Foster, how you feeling about Charlie and Tim?
Charlie's doing really well. Tim, I think, is starting to come along. I think that I think both have they haven't done anything wrong really. Like, they haven't really put themselves in a position, but also that tribe's been really safe.
But Tim might get blamed by Jem for having the idol. She was casting suspicion on him. He was digging so deep in that tree. He's trying too hard to overcompensate.
I don't think Jem's facade is going to last much longer.
Okay, I think you're probably right. Gerald's got Q and Ben. That's a fun team. Jameel Hunt just says Hunter left. Yeah, he's already lost Jess, but Hunter's not a bad pick. Tiffany for Jane. Sean still has Mariah now that he's a fake jumper, or a real jumper who fakes that she can't fake. She jumps.
She's got nothing to offer as far as bonding. Everyone, one guy's got Swifty, the other guy's got a rocker dude. She's like, I can't jump.
That's my weakness. But I can do everything else. Amanda's got Liz and Tevin. Is Amanda liking the season, Jeff?
She has not watched a single episode.
Oh, okay. Liz and Tevin. And then I got Venus and Maria. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think Amanda probably has the best team, to be honest.
She doesn't know it.
Yeah, me and Amanda probably have the two best teams.
Yeah. If you have anybody on the orange or green tribes, you're doing better than anybody who drafted.
Purple's not. Although, watch, one of those purple players will do really well.
I think so. I feel like one of them is going to be in the final three, no matter what.
Probably Tiffany.
Probably, maybe Kenzie.
Maybe.
I don't think it's Q, but who knows? Anyway, so I think we can probably close the books on "Don't Touch the Oven."
Okay. All right. So I think that's it. Dave, do we have stuff we need to plug here?
Well, we always have to, check out the rest of our content here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting, including our Marvel reviews. Like, we talk about all the new MCU things that come out for better or worse. Also, check out our former coverage of Big Brother, which we have, and we're also in the United Federation of Podcasts. This channel is a whole bunch of different podcasts fall under that, including a Star Trek themed one called Live Long in Podcast, where we talk about Star Trek all the time. We got Aiming on Track, my son's podcast, talking music. We have horror podcasts by Michael Chan and X Blackbird, where they talk about all kinds of horror things. The X-Men show, it's called X-Rated with Davin and Andre. Today, X-Men 97 came out, the sequel series to the original animated series from the 1990s, which those two have gone through and watched already every episode. Now they're getting into the new episodes, which I watched today, and that was fun. So I recommend checking that out. Of course, Graphic Histories with Andre Mayette. Hold Up, where they talk about movies with Murphy and Davin.
Murphy and Davin yell at each other.
Yeah. Oh, and happy birthday to Davin, by the way. He's 40 today.
Oh, happy birthday. Oh, big 4-0.
Big 4-0 for Davin from all kinds of United Federation of Podcast things. Hope you're having a good one out there, Davin. And of course, the newest member of the Federation is called Hey, Did You See This One? We got Jason Phillips and Stephen Waters. They're coming at you with all kinds of different movie reviews as well.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that.
They just became members of the Federation.
Oh, geez. They went through the academy, eh?
They went through the application period. So they're Beta Z and I think they're Delta 4 respectively. So,
Right on.
Oscar, anything you want to plug? What's going on in your life?
Go
Pats.
I don't know. I'm trying fantasy F1.
Okay.
So
you're trying to win a Survivor draft.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the fantasy drafts are just, I can't get enough of them, right? So I'm just, I'm just hauling, I'm just feeding the addiction.
Well, it's good stuff.
Big Brother Canada draft as well.
Yeah, Big Brother Canada. You guys watching the season? Foster's sad we're not covering it, or not Foster. I mean Sam. Sam's sad we're not covering it. But it's been a little painful. It's been messy so far that season. So I'll say that. Well, guys, I think I have a clip for you guys to play out here on the end of the show. So we'll hope you enjoy it. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. Good night.